Huzzah! Welcome back! It's time for another sonnet. Did you miss me? Sorry, I've been gone so long. Things happened. Sorry about that. But we're back with another sonnet. Aren't we all excited for some more baby metaphors from Shakespeare? It's a pair with Sonnet 6, so quite an interesting one, this one. Very fun. But please, 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 please watch the first video. Otherwise, you'll be so goddamn confused as to what the hell I am talking about. Anyway, that's my ramble over at the start. Let's get on with the sonnet. Those hours that with gentle work did frame the lovely gaze where every eye doth dwell, will play the tyrant to the very same, and that unfair which fairly doth excel. For never resting time leads summer on to hideous winter and confounds him there. Sap checked with frost, and lusty leaves quite gone, beauty o'ersnowed and bareness everywhere. Then were not summer's desolation left, a liquid prisoner pent in walls of glass. Beauty's effect with beauty were bereft, nor it nor no remembrance what it was. But flowers, distilled though they with winter meet, least but their show, their substance still lives sweet. So, personally, I would argue that this poem is rather, well, more poetic than others we've seen up until this point. It's still part of the first 17 procreation sonnets, but interestingly, it also works as a pair with the sonnet that comes directly after it. Essentially, it sets up an extended metaphor of life over time as seasons of the year, a precursor to some of the more seasonal sonnets we'll actually see later on. The metaphor runs as follows. Life moves through the seasons as time does, and though the summer months may be lovely, time also brings winter, which is never really that fun, especially not in Elizabethan times, everything gets cold and dies. Yay. Similarly, we humans will also all die. Spoilers, sorry about that. And the only way to restart this cycle and remember past glories is, well, actually, Shakespeare doesn't explicitly say to have babies, like you might expect, but he says to make perfume. But then, surprise, surprise, perfume's a metaphor for having babies. Yay. Something interesting about this sonnet, as compared to the others, is that there is no direct address at any point. There's no thys, or yous, or thous. We can still infer that it is addressed to the fair youth, like all the other poems are, but you wouldn't know that if you read it in isolation. It's one of the ones to read to the ladies, fellas, if you want to remind her of the existential horror of death on date night, just in case. The main image in this poem is that of flowers, summer and the perfume that they get distilled into. Flowers in summer serve metaphorically as good looks and beauty, whilst the perfume itself represents the essence of this beauty that can be used to create new good looks in your kids. Surprise, surprise. It's fairly standard, structurally, falling neatly into the Shakespearean format, 3 quatrains, then a couplet. The first quatrain notes how time may allow one to become beautiful and gazed upon, but it is also responsible for ruining those good looks it helped create. Then, in the second quatrain, Shakespeare repeats this theme, but utilises some of that seasonal imagery to reinforce his message. It argues the same applies to the seasons as applies to us. Time helps summer grow and bloom, but equally helps destroy it once winter arrives. But in quatrain the third, Shakespeare comments that the distillation of summer, perfume, can survive winter, but only as a prisoner trapped in a bottle, unable to show its beauty's effect. However, the couplet, quite hopefully, points out that the substance of summer still resides there and is not lost forever. The ending, though, oddly doesn't finish the logical sequence like you would expect with the previous sonnets. What you would expect, having established that the substance remains trapped in this bottle, is for the poet to continue and say the only way to free or renew the beauty in the perfume is by using it, which in this metaphor is having children. Are you bored of the theme yet? This is all seemingly concluded, though, in the next sonnet, further emphasising the idea I mentioned at the start, that they exist as a pair. Essentially, it's worth noting that the couplet in this sonnet doesn't completely close and resolve the issue presented, but leaves the door open slightly for the next sonnet, which I will obviously analyse in relation to comparison to this one. They are quite nice together, and in some ways, Sonnet 6 can't function without Sonnet 5, especially given its opening lines directly reference this one. This sonnet, by comparison, works just as well on its own, so, do subscribe and like for all that, and I will see you anon, hopefully, for the next one. Thank you!
Alack the day when one begins to beg, when the powers above thou hast to bribe, but if thou this fine channel wish to peg, then, good fellows, I implore you, subscribe. Alas, but still thou shalt not be informed if this author a tale he has to tell. My heart would thus be eternally warmed, if like cries of yore thou ring'st the bell. Last, if thou finds an item thou dost enjoy, allow me yet another deal to strike. Thine patronage I would seek to employ, therefore, fine friend, feel free to drop a like. But now we end, and I wish thee luck, and pray thou friends, forgive this rambling